Tonight, we take a slow and steady journey through the legendary story of Ferrari, a name that is more than just a car manufacturer. It is a symbol of speed, style, and passion. Close your eyes, relax, and let the history of Ferrari carry you back in time. The early days, Enzo Ferrari's dream. The story begins in 1898 in the quiet Italian city of Modena with the birth of Enzo Anselmo Ferrari. Italy at the time was still finding its modern identity, but the sound of engines and the sight of daring men behind the wheel of early automobiles captured young Enzo's imagination. As a boy, Enzo wasn't dreaming of factories or empires. He dreamed of the track. He wanted to be the man in the driver's seat, braving the dust, the danger, and the roar of the crowd. His passion only deepened when his father took him and his brother to watch a motor race in Bologna. The spectacle of speed, the smell of gasoline, and the thunder of engines carved themselves permanently into Enzo's memory. By the early 1920s, Enzo's determination paid off. He began racing with Alfa Romeo, one of Italy's most prestigious car makers. Behind the wheel, he quickly proved himself. Not the most reckless, but clever, consistent, and deeply strategic. His understanding of machines went beyond simply driving them. Enzo could feel how a car behaved, how it breathed on the track. But even as he competed, a bigger vision was forming in his mind. Enzo realized that Italy didn't just need great drivers, it needed a brand, a company that could embody the soul of speed, the cutting edge of technology, and the unmistakable beauty of Italian design. Racing was not just sport, it was a stage where engineering genius and human courage could be put on display. So in 1929, he founded Scuderia Ferrari. At first, it wasn't a manufacturer of cars but a racing stable, a team dedicated to preparing and fielding Alfa Romeos in competition. Scuderia Ferrari was Enzo's laboratory, his workshop of dreams, where he began to shape his philosophy of racing and performance. What started as a small team with a fiery emblem of a prancing horse would grow into something far greater, the seed of the Ferrari empire. An empire that would one day transform not just racing, but the very idea of what a car could be. The birth of Ferrari cars. By the late 1930s, Enzo Ferrari's partnership with Alfa Romeo had run its course. He had learned much from them, as a driver, a manager, and a strategist, but his ambitions were too great to remain under another company's wing. In 1939, he officially parted ways, though not without challenges. As part of his contract, Enzo agreed that he could not use the Ferrari name in association with cars for at least 4 years. So, instead, he formed a new company, Autoavio Costruzioni. The outbreak of World War II interrupted everything. Enzo's factory in Modena shifted its focus away from racing to producing machinery and tools for the Italian war effort. But even amid the noise of industry and the shadow of war, Enzo's dream never disappeared. In fact, the challenges only sharpened his resolve. When Allied bombings destroyed his Modena facilities, he relocated to a small town just 18 kilometers away, Maranello. It was here, in this quiet countryside, that Ferrari would truly be born. When the war ended, Europe was broken, but Enzo was undeterred. He knew the world needed symbols of renewal, of beauty, of passion, and for him, that symbol would be the automobile. No longer content to prepare cars for others, Enzo set out to create machines of his own. In 1947, his vision became reality. The first true Ferrari rolled out of Maranello's gates, the 125S. It was a modest-looking machine by modern standards, but inside beat the heart of something extraordinary, a 1.5-liter V12 engine crafted by legendary engineer Gioacchino Colombo. For Enzo, the V12 was not just an engine, it was poetry. It was the soul of speed, refined and powerful, destined to become the signature of Ferrari for decades to come. The 125S made its competitive debut on May 11, 1947, at the Piacenza circuit. The car showed flashes of brilliance, but retired early due to a fuel pump failure. Some might have called it a disappointment. Enzo called it a promising failure, and just weeks later, his confidence was rewarded. At the Rome Grand Prix, the 125S roared to victory. Ferrari's first win, the beginning of a legacy. This was not just another racing car. The 125S was a declaration. Ferrari was not here to participate, but to dominate. It was the birth of a legend, one that would carry the name Ferrari to the very summit of motorsport and beyond. Racing dominance. From its very first victories, Ferrari became inseparable from the world of motorsport. Enzo's dream had never been about simply building beautiful cars. It was about winning, and the racetrack was the only true measure of greatness. The 1950s were the decade when Ferrari's reputation was forged in fire and speed. The prancing horse appeared everywhere: the grueling Mille Miglia, the legendary 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the world's premier stage, Formula One. Ferrari wasn't just competing, it was rewriting the definition of endurance, engineering, and passion. In 1951, Ferrari shocked the racing establishment. At the British Grand Prix in Silverstone, José Froilán González, nicknamed the Pampas Bull, drove a Ferrari 375 F1 to victory, defeating Alfa Romeo. For Enzo, it was more than just a win. He later admitted that watching Ferrari beat Alfa, the very company that had once given him his start, felt like killing his own mother. It was painful, but it was also the moment Ferrari was truly born as a global force. The following year, Ferrari reached an even greater milestone. In 1952, with the calm and precise Alberto Ascari behind the wheel, Ferrari captured its first Formula One World Championship. Ascari dominated the season, winning 6 of 8 races, and then repeated the feat in 1953. Suddenly, Ferrari was no longer just a challenger, it was the team to beat. And Ferrari's dominance wasn't limited to Formula One. At Le Mans, Ferrari's machines proved their stamina over 24 relentless hours, their engines screaming into the night while rivals faltered. On the punishing roads of the Mille Miglia, Ferrari's cars conquered the open Italian countryside, showcasing not just speed, but resilience and beauty. This racing success became Ferrari's DNA. Other manufacturers might have built cars first, then gone racing to prove them, but Ferrari was different. Ferrari existed to race. The road cars that came out of Maranello were not mere luxury vehicles. They were byproducts of the track, infused with the same spirit, same technology, and same relentless pursuit of perfection. For Enzo, racing wasn't a marketing strategy. It was a philosophy. Every victory was proof of Ferrari's purpose. Every defeat was fuel to return stronger. By the end of the 1950s, Ferrari was no longer just a racing team. It was a legend, a symbol of speed, endurance, and the uncompromising will to win. The golden era of Ferrari road cars. While Ferrari had already established itself on the racetrack, the 1950s and 60s would elevate the brand into something greater, an object of desire, status, and beauty. This was Ferrari's golden age of road cars, a time when machines born from racing DNA were transformed into rolling works of art. At the center of this era stood the Ferrari 250 series. Among them, the 250 GTO emerged as the crown jewel. Produced between 1962 and 1964, only 36 examples ever left Maranello's gates. Each one was crafted by hand, tested personally by engineers and drivers, and refined until it was as close to perfection as possible. Its design, by Sergio Scaglietti, balanced elegance and aggression. Long sweeping curves, a snarling front grille, and proportions that seemed almost alive. Beneath its sculpted body, a powerful V12 engine delivered not just speed, but a soundtrack unlike anything else on the road. The 250 GTO wasn't meant to be a collector's car. It was built to win races, and it did. From Tour de France victories to dominating GT championships, the GTO became a symbol of Ferrari's dual philosophy. A car could be both a masterpiece on the street and a weapon on the track. Decades later, its rarity and mystique turned it into the most valuable car in the world. At auctions, single examples have fetched over $70 million, making it not just a car, but a treasure. But the golden age was not defined by a single model. After the GTO, Ferrari continued to create legends. The Ferrari 275 GTB, launched in 1964, refined the formula of a front-engined V12 GT car, blending breathtaking design with groundbreaking engineering like an independent rear suspension. The Dino 246, named in honor of Enzo's late son Alfredo Dino Ferrari, introduced a smaller V6-powered car with sublime handling. Its flowing bodywork by Pininfarina remains one of the most admired designs in automotive history. And then, the Ferrari 365 GTB4, better known as the Daytona. Released in 1968, it became a symbol of 1960s excess, muscular, powerful, and effortlessly glamorous. The Daytona captured the imagination of a generation, and cemented Ferrari as the pinnacle of automotive cool. These cars were far more than machines to get from one place to another. They were rolling sculptures, a marriage of art and engineering, each one carrying the spirit of racing into the everyday world. Owning a Ferrari in this era was not just about speed, it was about belonging to an exclusive club where passion, beauty, and performance intertwined. The golden era of Ferrari road cars proved something crucial. Ferrari was not only the king of the racetrack, it was the creator of dreams on wheels. The Fiat partnership and growth. By the late 1960s, Ferrari stood at a crossroads. The brand was more famous than ever, its racing dominance unmatched and its road cars objects of global desire. But behind the glamour, the pressure was immense. Racing was expensive, and Ferrari's philosophy, to race first, build cars second, meant the company was constantly pouring resources into motorsport. Enzo Ferrari, now in his 70s, realized that to secure the future of his dream, he needed a partner with deeper pockets. In 1969, that partner arrived, Fiat. Enzo struck a deal that saw Fiat purchase a 50% stake in Ferrari. The move brought financial stability, ensuring Ferrari could keep innovating while continuing its all-important racing program. Importantly, Enzo kept control of the motorsport side of the business. Racing would always remain Ferrari's soul. Fiat's involvement allowed Maranello to expand production, modernize its facilities, and grow into a true global powerhouse. This era ushered in a new wave of iconic Ferrari road cars that defined decades of automotive culture. The Ferrari 365 GTB4 Daytona, released in 1968, just before the Fiat deal, it became a poster child of Italian design and power. Its aggressive lines and roaring V12 captured the spirit of late 1960s excess, and it quickly earned a reputation as one of the greatest grand tourers ever built. The Ferrari 308 GTB, debuting in 1975, it brought Ferrari into the modern age of styling. Sleek, compact, and instantly recognizable with its wedge-shaped body, the 308 became a global sensation, especially after being immortalized by Magnum PI in the 1980s. It introduced many enthusiasts to Ferrari for the very first time, making the brand more accessible in the public imagination. The Ferrari Testarossa, launched in 1984, the Testarossa became the ultimate symbol of 1980s style and excess. With its wide stance, distinctive side strakes, and monstrous flat 12 engine, it wasn't just a car, it was a cultural phenomenon. From music videos to Hollywood films like Miami Vice, the Testarossa made Ferrari synonymous with power, wealth, and glamour. The Fiat partnership gave Ferrari the resources to thrive in a changing automotive world. Where many racing-focused companies might have collapsed under financial strain, Ferrari not only survived but flourished, balancing its racing soul with a growing road car empire. This era was proof of Enzo Ferrari's genius not only as a dreamer, but as a strategist. He safeguarded his company's future while never compromising on the principle that had guided him from the very beginning. Ferrari exists to race. The passing of Enzo Ferrari. By the late 1980s, Enzo Ferrari was no longer just a man. He was a myth, a symbol of racing passion and uncompromising vision. For decades, he had shaped Ferrari into one of the most powerful names in motorsport and one of the most desirable marques in the world. Yet behind the sunglasses and the sharp gaze, Enzo was nearing the end of his journey. In 1988, at the remarkable age of 90, Enzo Ferrari passed away in his beloved Modena. His death marked the end of an era, not just for Ferrari, but for motorsport as a whole. The man who had lived through 2 world wars, who had turned his obsession with racing into a global empire, was gone. Italy mourned him like a national hero. The world of cars, racing, and design mourned him as a legend. But Enzo left the world with one final masterpiece, a car that embodied everything he believed Ferrari should be. Just a year earlier, in 1987, Ferrari unveiled the F40, celebrating the company's 40th anniversary. It was the last car Enzo personally oversaw, and it carried his philosophy to the extreme. The F40 was raw, stripped of excess, and built purely for performance. No electronic aids, no luxury frills, just a twin-turbocharged V8 engine, lightweight construction, and a design that looked like it was sculpted by the wind itself. With a top speed of over 200 miles per hour, it became the fastest production car in the world at the time. But numbers alone didn't make the F40 legendary. It was the emotion. The F40 was brutal, uncompromising, and demanding. It wasn't built to coddle drivers. It was built to challenge them, to remind them that Ferrari was about passion, danger, and purity. For many, the F40 is still the truest Ferrari ever made, a car that distilled Enzo's vision into steel, carbon fiber, and fire. When Enzo passed, the F40 stood as his parting statement to the world. This is Ferrari. This is who we are. And so, while the man left us, the spirit he forged continued to roar on racetracks, on roads, and in the dreams of car enthusiasts everywhere. Enzo Ferrari's passing was not just the end of a life, it was the beginning of a legacy that would live forever. Modern Ferrari, innovation and luxury. After Enzo's death, Ferrari continued to evolve. The 1990s and 2000s brought models like the F355, 360 Modena, and the Enzo Ferrari supercar, named in honor of the founder. In Formula One, Ferrari experienced glory once again, thanks to Michael Schumacher. From 2000 to 2004, Ferrari won 5 consecutive drivers' championships, cementing its dominance in the modern era. Today, Ferrari balances its racing heritage with luxury. Models like the LaFerrari, the 812 Superfast, and the SF90 Stradale push boundaries in performance and technology. Hybrid power, advanced aerodynamics, and unmatched design keep Ferrari at the top of the automotive world. Ferrari's legacy. Ferrari is not just a car company. It is a story of passion, ambition, and relentless pursuit of speed. From Enzo Ferrari's modest dream in the 1920s to dominating Formula One to building some of the most beautiful road cars ever created, Ferrari has always stood for something greater. It is a reminder that cars can be more than machines. They can be art, they can be history, and they can be a dream. So as you drift off tonight, think of the sound of a Ferrari V12 echoing through the Italian countryside. A reminder that legends are built not overnight, but through decades of passion. Good night.